Hello, I'm back again. So, I'm not going to work today. I don't have to, it's a holiday, but they are accepting volunteers. So, I get to chill at home and make more videos and check my social media, rest a little, get some energy by eating, manifest, and I still have my candles still burning. Um, I bought a nice apple cinnamon candle from Dollar General. I showed you in the Dollar General video, and then I still have a Archangel Michael candle. Have two lit up. They are white instead. They're not red because this Hispanic store didn't have red for some odd reason. Um, but I am using those too. Now, um, I just uploaded a video about Kanye West sampling Michael Jackson and stuff like that, so make sure you look at that video. I also have been, I cleaned up my room, so in that you also heard me say that I cleaned up my room, so yay. Um, I also realized that, okay, Lyft is a much better way, to, um, commute other than just a taxi cab and stuff like that. Um, but I realized that because I'm a biker, I ride a bicycle. If you don't know, but you guys should know by now. Um, of course, I was saving a lot more money by biking, but when I request a lift to work every morning and every afternoon when I get off, that's like $100 a week, and I'm saving so much money by biking, and I don't even live far from where I work, so I might as well continue that. But it's been really cold. That's why I went and bought $100 worth of bicycle gear that is actually warm as crap right now. So that's actually working. But I think I'm going to continue riding my bicycle um, until I get my license, and that will be very, very soon. Um, I might just go ahead and just rent a car. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Is rent a car until I get me my own personal vehicle that I actually own. So yeah, that's that. Um, I am still in the process of making like some moves because I don't really necessarily feel like staying in the High Point would really benefit me as much. It actually will, because this is where I can get started from. Everything that I am building myself has been built from here. I'm still from Washington, D.C. People ask me, well, you've been in High Point for all your life, or why don't you just say that you're from High Point? Because that would be stupid for me to say that I'm from High Point when I know I'm not from High Point. So people need to understand that. Um, I'm from Washington, D.C., and I don't have a problem with High Point, but I would not say that I'm from here when I know that I'm not, no matter how long I've lived here. So I wasn't born here, so why would I say that? Um, anyways, um, there is a school that I'm interested in going to. It may not take that long. Um, but it has my career field in journalism and broadcasting and things like that. So that's pretty awesome. Um, I also would like to say that I am going to continue to share my links on my Facebook page, so you can reach me at any time. Write me, send me a message, and I will respond back to you because I'm constantly on Facebook. Um, Another thing I would like to say is that okay, so I've been in High Point for about 19 years, I believe. Okay, so I was 5 years old when I came to High Point with my mother and my brother. I have four siblings, but I only moved here with two of my brothers. Um, and one's a full brother, one's a half brother, and I have a half sister, but she's always remained in Washington D.C., but she's in the army right now. Um, Her name is Crystal. Hey, Crystal. But anyways, um, I was just wondering if. Oh, okay. So let me go back. So, um, when we first moved to North Carolina, we went to Asheboro and lived there for about a few months, 6 months, I want to say. But that was in 1999. Then in early 2000 or late 1999, we moved to High Point and we settled here ever since. So, I graduated from high school here. I went to the academy at High Point Central. I went to a lot of schools. I went to the early middle college at GTCC Greensboro. I went to the high school at Head Academy. I left middle school early from High Point, Ferndale Middle School. I left early, went to the early middle college because I was chosen to go there. So yay, I was so happy at that time. Then I went to, then from the early middle college, then from high school ahead academy, I went to early middle college, from the middle school. So it's from Ferndale Middle School to the high school ahead academy in Greensboro to the Greensboro GTCC Middle College, then transferred over to the academy at Central, um, and all of those was all honors classes. So I was chosen to go through all of those, and I felt like I needed those because they seen the type of person that I was, and they knew that I needed to be in an environment um, where the smart kids were and the talented kids and the students with the most potential. Um, they made sure that we were in our all honors program, so we were kept separate from the ratchetness and stuff. So I was happy for that. But I went to church down here in High Point. I attended Hilliard Memorial Baptist Church. We lived in even though I was the only one in my family to go to church the most, it's because I had a different type of environment, and mindset. I was just like the most different type of person that throughout my whole family. And another thing that I would like to say is um I believe well we've lived in like housing authority, the project neighborhoods like any other black child or black people, black person. I don't know how you would say it, but coming from a struggling family, um, my grandmother wasn't struggling. She had her ups and downs. She had her obstacles, but she's made her way and she's improved. But she's never lived in High Point or North Carolina. Period. She's always lived in D.C. and in Maryland, but she's from. And this is from my mother's side. She was born in South Carolina, but she moved to DC. Her mother moved her to DC when she was very like young, little child. So, but anyways, long story short, that's just on my grandmother's side. For my mom's and my grandmother from my dad's side, she's also from South Carolina, but she's been moving. She's lived in DC and she was raised there as well. But she's also lived in like Philadelphia and South Carolina, blah blah blah. So, long story short, my mother, like I told you the story about her being, like on drugs and things like that, having a different type of boyfriends come in the household and stuff, you know, and our family struggled a lot because of that. So, we've had our ups and downs. I found a way to get out of the environment. You know, that's how some family goes. That's what happens sometimes. I actually am proud of myself because I actually moved along and I actually got out of the environment and I kept my composure and I remained Christopher. I remained to be myself and not let my personality disappear from me that people thought was intriguing and inspiring. So I kept that with myself. And, I've always worked, in High Point. I've worked in Greensboro, but I've always lived at High Point. High Point's a very small city, but it's actually growing now. It's the furniture capital of the world. Um, a lot of exhibitors and people who are buyers for large companies come here um, 2 times out the year for fall and spring to actually buy furniture. Um, and it's very neat how people, you know, it's kind of funny how people don't know that this is actually existing here because I would have never known anything about it. But I wouldn't say that because some people who are not from High Point or North Carolina, period, say that they actually know High Point because of that. So if you go onto my Facebook page, you'll be able to see the International Home Furnishing Centers where I work through a temp agency, and yeah. So and then we have like Fox 8 News here. We have our own public transportation. We just got a grant. I think we get a grant like every 10 years to upgrade the city bus, and they look a whole lot better. The last one was through Mercedes Benz. Um, you can see the sign on the back of it, so that it was Mercedes Benz that actually made the buses. And now I'm not sure who makes the buses now, but they look a whole lot better. Because when we first moved to High Point, those buses, they was passing out the tickets like it had stairs on it. It was small. It was like, oh my gosh, this is High Point. So yeah. And another thing is, how many more minutes we have? I've been on 13 minutes. Okay. So, and another thing is, let's see. So I've met some great people here. I met some people here that I'm like, oh, why did I run into you? This and that and the third. The Southern hospitality is real. I've worked at the High Point Furniture Market. I worked at McDonald's. I worked at for construction. You can catch the park bus from High Point to and all throughout the Triad, which is Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Thomasville, Kernersville, Lexington, all that good stuff. The park bus will even take you to the zoo, North Carolina Zoo, and to the mountains. So you can really catch the park bus and go anywhere. Let's see. Yes, I've had some friends that I've met here. I've had a great time. I've had some times where I was like, oh, I just wanted to cry, break down, leave, go back to Washington, D.C., because I missed my family. And, but I always stayed in contact with my grandmother and both of my grandmothers. Since my father has passed away, it's been like limited of the communication, throughout, the rest of the family. But that is about it. High Point is, whenever I mention High Point to some people, they say, oh, I remember that place. I've been there when I was a little girl. Or I've been there when I was a child. Or I've been there before. I stopped by there or I went through there. People really, it's like an unknown place, really. Um, but it brings in $4.5 billion a year in the furniture market industry. So I mean, they are the reasons why we have the Ralph Lauren Fulfillment Center here in High Point, because it's bringing a whole bunch of jobs, um, for the people who don't really have, work or can't find work. They can go through a tip agency called Adecco and actually work. Um, that's where I work. I work there. So, we used to have a Greyhound station here in High Point. We don't really have that anymore. They took that out. But we still have Amtrak, so you can still get on the Amtrak train, go to anywhere in the country from the High Point train station. So you're good. You're absolutely good. And you're only 30, 20 minutes away from the airport. So if you need to fly, you can go to PTI Triad International Airport. And of course, there's an airport at the Raleigh Durham, so you'll be able to make that also. Oh, and there's an airport in Charlotte, so you'll be able to be fine. Anything else at High Point? They have a men's shelter and a women's shelter. So if you ever come to High Point and you're stranded, you can come to High Point, and get a place to lay your head, to eat, to get toiletry items and rest, so you can get on your feet again. They have a Salvation Army shelter. They have a women's shelter called Leslie's House. They have a men's shelter called Open Door Ministries. Um, they have the health department is here. The hospital is a great hospital. Was High Point Regional, but Wake Forest University, um, Baptist Medical Center actually bought, the old High Point Hospital out, and now they're using their facility, and their trainees and their, patients and doctors are all in there, getting service for each other. So we have a great hospital. There's a detention center. There's a health department. Like I said, post office. Um, of course, I said there's transportation for city bus and Amtrak, taxi cabs, of course. Um, Park bus for transportation to commuting out of the city, in and out of the city. Um, because the triad is like a triangle. You got High Point at the bottom, you got Greensboro on the left hand side, and Winston-Salem on the right hand side. So it's like that. Or is it right and left, or was Greensboro and Winston-Salem, one of those two. Um, and that is, I'm trying to think of something else. We have a lot of schools here. Central, High School, High Point Central, Andrews, High School, um, Southern Guilford, which is pretty much at the border. We have a lot of high schools. We don't have that many high schools, but they're really big. Um, we have lots of elementary schools, like Parkview Elementary, um, Oak Hill Elementary, Fairview Elementary, Johnson Street Elementary, Oakview Elementary, and things like that. Then in middle school, you have Penn Griffin School of the Arts, a very good school, historical school on Washington Street. Um, for Ferndale Middle School that I went to, they have, you know, um, they have schools out here. Daycares for your children. We used to have a mall called Oak Hollow Mall. But High Point University is another university, a very big university that we have here in High Point, the biggest one that we have. And they bought out the mall and turned it into a community center. So they are expanding. So when you come to High Point, you're going to see a lot of purple flags, and that is indicating High Point University. And they are literally taking over the city. This is their city from now on. So they are the reason why our city is growing, or should I say your city, this city, because I'm not from here. Um, I was raised here, but I'm not from here. I was partially raised here, but that is it. If you want to come to High Point, come on down to High Point. I will talk to you guys later. Bye bye.